How's it going, people? Welcome back to another tier list video. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at every single secret boss in the Yakuza series. And that means not just the Yakuza games, but also the Judgment games, the Kurohyou games, and also the Samurai games. Because those as well have secret bosses, and I would count all of those as being Yakuza games. This is a list that a lot of you have actually been asking me to do, because I've seen it on multiple videos, and I figured, you know what, maybe it is time we do this. So, first thing that I want to talk about is my ranking of, like the categories that we have over here. So, we have the normal S, A, B, C, D, but then also there's a few, well, maybe more than a few bosses that I didn't actually fight. But for some of them at least, I know something about them, so I will still be talking about those. So the way I'm gonna be doing this is that I'm gonna go through each game by release order rather than chronological order, because I feel like it's easier that way. And also what that means is I'm going to be separating between Amon fights in the original games and the remakes where those are concerned. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into this. We'll start with the original Yakuza 1 Amon. The original Yakuza 1 Amon I actually have not fought at all. Even though Yakuza 1 was my first Yakuza game, I played a lot of that game. But if you know anything about how the old Yakuza games work, I say old Yakuza games, but really I think it's just Yakuza 1, 2, and I think 3 as well. Those games were a bit unforgiving when it comes to completing all of the side quests and, you know, getting to the secret bosses. Because the thing about those games is that side quests were failable. Is that a word? Basically, you could fail side quests, right? And I don't know for sure if that basically eliminates the chances of you ever getting to the secret boss or not. If you do know the answer, please do let me know, because I'm still not sure about that part. And again, like, when it comes to some of the later Yakuza games, they were a bit more forgiving in letting you finish the side quests when you wanted to get to the secret bosses if you wanted to. Because in these older games that I'm talking about, you know, 1, 2, and 3, side quests were timed, and if you, for example, pass chapter 11, then in the final chapter you can't do the side quests that show up in chapter 11. So you have to be very careful about that if you want to fight Amon in the same story playthrough that you're going with. So because it felt like a bit of a hassle to me, the original Yakuza 1 Amon was one of those that I didn't really fight. But leaving this bit aside, let me talk about the actual fight. So the actual fight, as far as I know, is one of the hardest Amon fights in the series, which is funny because Yakuza 1's combat, I know a lot of people think of it as janky and dated and whatnot, but I actually kind of enjoy it. But that being said, the jankiness of the combat is probably the main reason why this is one of the hardest fights, one of the hardest Amon fights in the series. Because in this fight, one advantage that Amon has that you don't is just how fast he's able to do things and move around you, and you have to deal with the clunkiness of, you know, finishing your rush combo maybe, and then waiting for the cooldown of each, you know, rush combo and all that. So you would probably have to rely on Taiga drops, but even then, I know some people that struggle to do this, and when I say people, I mean people that, you know, are dedicated to no damaging videos. You might have seen his videos around, but a friend of mine, Jimmy Cuballs, actually attempted to do this barehanded, and he had to give up eventually and just resort to using that lightning sword. Because, yeah, that's how ridiculous this fight is. Although, having said that, I do think there is at least someone out there that did actually pull it off without any weapons, so it is possible. It's insanely difficult, and if you try to do that, then good luck to you. And then we have the Yakuza 2 Amons, the original ones. Let me see. So they looked a bit different. These Amons of Yakuza 2 are the same ones that you end up fighting in Yakuza 4, but they just look very, very different in the original Yakuza 2. So I'm pretty sure this is Kazuya Amon, the bearded one, and we know that he's not bearded later on, he's this blonde dude. And then, I can't actually tell them apart. I'm not sure which one is Sango and which one is Jiro. And then, of course, Joe Amon. All of these guys are Amons that you fight in Yakuza 2. Kurohyou fights all of them single-handedly, beats every single one of them single-handedly. And yeah, I just, you know, thinking about this, that's actually pretty cool how he does that. And then in Yakuza 4, he probably could pull it off as well, but it's just, you know, there's these new pro tags alongside him, and, you know, it might as well help lift some weight off of his shoulders, you know what I mean? I actually know less about the Yakuza 2 Amons in the original than I do about Amon in the original Yakuza 1, so I can't really tell you guys much about that. Okay, up next we have the Yakuza 3 Amon. Man, I've put every single entry and didn't fight so far that it's actually pretty difficult to pick which one I think this belongs to. I mean, when it comes to Yakuza 3, if you know anything about it, on the higher difficulties, it's probably one of the most tedious Yakuza games because enemies are so tanky, they block a lot, and you deal shit damage. So, all of those kind of result in a long fight. Now, I'm pretty sure on difficulties like normal or easy, this Amon probably isn't as tedious, but you know, if you're playing on Legend or X Hard, then yeah, you're staying in this fight for maybe at least, I don't know, 10 minutes on average. Of course, if you're someone that does no damage and comes up with all of these crazy strategies, you'll probably finish it faster than that, but yeah. I think all he has going for him, from just going off of my memory, it's been a while since I did or watched this fight. He has like dual lightsabers, and I don't know if he does anything other than that, because yeah, that's like the one thing that I still remember about this fight. So I mean, yeah, like it was a pretty long fight, but it didn't really feel very unique, you know? So maybe I'll actually put this on C. Okay, wait, I'm actually not sure. Kenzan comes before Yakuza 3, right? Okay, then I might have skipped that then. Where is he? This dude. So, Amon also shows up in Kenzan, and Kenzan is a game that I haven't fully beat. I made it like halfway through, and I just couldn't really find it in me to go back to it. So I didn't really fight this Amon, and I don't think I watched much footage of this fight either, so I can't really tell you anything about this fight, unfortunately. But I think, if I remember right, people did say that this is also one of the more challenging Amons in the series, so there is that. Okay, so 3 in Kenzan, and now we have Yakuza 4. Now, Yakuza 4, of course, like I said not too long ago, has 4 Amons, the same ones from Yakuza 2 returning, except some of them had a big, like, change in appearance. So, you have, where is he? I think that's him. No, wait, that's the Yakuza 5 version. There he is. So, Kazi Amon, and then you have Jiro Amon, Sango Amon, and then Joe Amon. Okay, don't worry about the listing right now. This is not where I'm putting them. It's just to put them next to each other so you guys can see, like, all of them back to back. So, I don't know how unpopular or popular this opinion is, but I do think, like, yes, the Amon fights in Yakuza 4 is, like, probably some of the easiest Amon fights, but goddamn, they were so enjoyable to me. And because of that, I think I'm actually gonna put these... Kazuya can go to A. I loved using Akiyama for this fight. Joe can also go to A in this one. Jiro, I mean... the health regen that he does is kind of annoying at times, but I mean, it's not too bad, but, you know. And Sango Amon with the machine gun, it's not too bad either if you have the Sacred Tree Armor set, I think it was called, which automatically blocks bullets. If you have that, this fight is probably not gonna be much of a threat at all for you, and you can get it done easily. But otherwise, yeah, it's probably gonna be a bit challenging to say the least, because, you know, a machine gun, and you have to deal with that. But I mean, yeah, like, generally speaking, the Amon fights of Yakuza 4 were pretty enjoyable to me, and I think this is where I would put them. I do think it's funny, by the way, how Kazuya Amon is basically just a reskinned Joe Amon. just that he's blonde. So after Yakuza 4, we have an Amon that I feel like is forgotten in time, lost in time, however you wanna put it. Reaszun Amon. Reaszun Amon is the secret boss in Yakuza Dead Souls. And you know, because this game never really got a remaster, and it's exclusive to the PS3, a lot of people didn't get to play this game, which I think is a pretty fun game in its own right. Maybe not the best, but you know what? You can tell they tried to have fun with this game, tried to make something completely different by, you know, setting our favorite characters in a zombie apocalypse. That was really cool in my opinion, and I enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, the amusing thing about this Amon is that Joe Amon contacts Kurohyou, right? He tells him, yo, meet me here, we'll fight as usual. You go there, this fucking zombified Amon knocks Joe Amon away, steals his sunglasses, and now we have to fight him. Oh, and it is worth mentioning that the outfit that he's wearing, this Amon, is a World War I, I think, soldier outfit, which is, you know, pretty interesting, honestly. I like the concept of a somewhat ancient Amon just coming back from the dead to fucking beat Kurohyou, because why not? I don't know if I'd put this in A or S, because I really enjoyed this fight. I thought it was really cool. Like, he can go invisible, he can fucking shoot laser beams at you. It's so crazy and all over the place, but it was really fun. And they use Rebellions for this fight as well, which is the same song that they use for the secret bosses in Yakuza 4, except for Joe Amon. Rebellions is a god tier track, so this just makes this fight that much better for me. Right, after Dead Souls, I believe, was it Ishin that came out, and then Yakuza 5, or 5 and then Ishin? I'm not sure, honestly. I'm getting old, I have Alzheimer, so yeah, please be patient with me. So the Ishin Amon, I'm gonna pick him first. I did not fight this Amon as well. He's, you know, he belongs here because of that. Although, once again, I heard that he's one of the more challenging Amons in the entire series, so there's that going for him. And, you know, given that Ishin is a game where you could switch your fighting style, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this fight. But, yeah, I do want to, like, throw it out there that I do appreciate that they included Amon even in these, you know, games that are set 100 years before the mainline games. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, with Ishin out of the way, Yakuza 5. Yakuza 5 has the same 4 guys returning, and, you know, because Tanimura is absent in this one, Hinata is the one that gets to fight Sango Amon. Now, Sango Amon had a machine gun in Yakuza 4. In Yakuza 5, he fucking floats in the air, and if I remember right, he throws levitating umbrellas at you somehow. I think it's one of the more annoying fights for people, because if I remember right, like, even when it comes to people trying to no damage this fight, it's yeah, it's not a cakewalk, and you know, judging by my experience with the fight, probably not in a fun way. I mean, Kazuya was okay, I think. Jiro spawned like silver minions that, you know, keep going after you. And I think back on the PS3 they caused a lot of lag depending on how many of them show up on your screen. So that was a bit of a yikes. And then I think I'm gonna put this dude here as well. Joe's fight was okay, but I still prefer the one in Yakuza 4, because I feel like the more the games go on, the more they recycle fighting like styles or fighting moves for these guys. And I mean, like, you know, in Yakuza 5 he just gets Kiryu's fighting style, and to me that's a bit boring. Because like in Yakuza 4 he had Mine's fighting style, and then he also had the hammer, the machine gun, the laser. And I actually don't know if he has all of those in 5, I can't freaking remember for the life of me, but yeah, the fights in Yakuza 4 are just much more enjoyable for me. And again, Rebellions, I fucking love that track, so Okay, Yakuza 5 out of the way. I think that leaves us with Yakuza 0. Oh, hold on. Before we move on to Yakuza 0, there's Noa Amon. Noa is Haruka's secret boss. Now, as you know, Yakuza 5 has 5 playable characters: Akiyama, Saejima Shinada, Kurohyou, and then Haruka. Haruka gets a secret boss as well, and she's also from the Amon clan. And what do you do with her? You have one hell of a dance-off with her. So, this is actually also, unfortunately, one of those Amons that I did not do. But I'm pretty sure it's fun as hell, so yeah, there's that. I really like that they added something like this, because, you know, it's... like, why the hell not, you know what I mean? But yeah, with this out of the way, Yakuza 0. 2 Amons for 2 playable characters. You play as Kurohyou and Majima. Now, interestingly enough, Joe is wearing a fedora in this game, and Majima's the one that gets to fight him. The other Amon, as far as I remember, is Joe Amon's father, and Kurohyou is the one that gets to fight him, which is kind of amusing in a way. So you have Joe Amon and So Amon. So Amon goes on about how he had this dream, like there's this one guy that is destined to be a rival to their clan and some shit. It's pretty wild stuff. Like, they were alright, but I don't think they were top tier. I'll probably put So Amon above Joe Amon, because at least he had something unique going for him, you know what I mean? With the freaking helicopter dropping down furniture, and the furniture could screw you over so easily if you're not careful. Like, all it takes is just one wrong step, and it could be like a stunlock fucking charade for you, and you die. And also, he had that cannon, which I thought was kind of amusing, so there's that going for him. And yeah, Joe in Yakuza 0, I think he just recycled Majima's Mad Dog style and Kurohyou's Dragon style, so... like, again, whenever they do that, it's kind of boring to me at this point. And yeah, it's whatever. Okay, before we move on to Yakuza 6, there's Kiwami and Kiwami 2. I'm gonna do this first. So Kiwami... once again, it's okay. It's not top tier for me. Because, again, they recycle Majima's moveset and then they recycle Kurohyou's moveset, so nothing really special there. Now, as for Yakuza Kiwami 2, I did fight all of those, so I should be able to rank them. Now, Kazuya... I don't know, to be honest. Like, these fights weren't really anything special, except if we talk about Joe Amon. Now, Joe in this game had one hell of a soundtrack. It felt like a farewell to Kurohyou almost, because I think Yakuza Kiwami 2 was the last game in release order where we play as Kurohyou, so that was pretty cool, what they did with the theme in Joe's fight here. And Kazuya, again, I'm not sure, but like, when it comes to Kiwami 2 in general, if you're upgraded enough, you can just annihilate almost any boss, and that includes the Amon bosses, so, I mean, it's okay. Oh boy, and then we have this son of a bitch. So, Jiro Amon in Kiwami 2 has a machine gun, and if you're not careful, from what I remember, you'll get a game over, like, just like that. Like, you're doing so well, and then all of a sudden he decides to backflip, and then fucking just repeatedly shoot at you, and that's it, you're dead. And you know what? Just because, like, there's this really fucking high-risk aspect to it, I'm gonna put this in B. Because that was kinda fun in its own way. And then we have Sango Amon, who uses a rocket launcher in this game. I mean, he has a rocket launcher. I don't know. Whatever, you know. And I decided to include the 100-man army, whatever you want to call it, Amon army fight in this list because, well, you know, you do fight almost all of the Amons in this, except Joe Amon, if I remember right. and it's a pretty hype fight. So I think I'll actually take this to S, because like this fight starts out with some quiet music, and then you take out all of these guys, and then you get a banger just fucking jamming right in the background, and I don't know, it's just pretty hype, you know? I like that they included this. Okay, with Kiwami 2 out of the way, we have Yakuza 6. Yakuza 6 brought back Joe Amon, and only him. And this is the first game where Joe Amon actually has a voice, as in, you know, he talks, and you can hear him, you know, being voiced by someone. And chronologically, this is the last fight that happens between Kurohyou and Joe Amon, so that is something interesting to keep in mind. And also, this is like, I don't know, like, it's almost a bit of a meme, because this is the point where, you know, after you defeat him, Kurohyou's like, you know, aren't you sick of just fighting me at this point, dude? How about you join me for the clan creator minigame? And I thought that was really amusing, you know? The fight itself isn't too bad. Like, if you know what to do, he can cheese through it really easily. But then again, like, I actually wanted to say this earlier about pretty much all of these on the list. I'm pretty sure for maybe all of them, maybe except the original Yakuza 1 Amon, if you learn the tricks that are there to make it easier for you, you know, the challenge is gonna be gone, you know what I mean? Like, it's all a matter of trial and error, or if you just look up a strategy that someone, you know, does in a video, and you do that, and all of a sudden the challenge is gone. I guess there is a case to be made with, you know, pulling off counters, because those require specific timing, and you might have to do it again and again and again to get it right, especially if you're aiming for something like, I don't know, no damage, or as little damage as possible, or just trying to look good while doing the fight. But yeah, like, going through the Yakuza 6 fight of Amon, I did have a difficult time at first, because of the fucking drones that fly around you. They can, again, just screw you over so easily if you're not careful. I thought it was okay. Is it better than the Kiwami 2 fight? Honestly, I don't know. But I mean, you know, it wasn't bad. I did like it. Okay, before we move on to the Judgment games and Yakuza 7, I actually want to talk about the Kurohyou games. Now, the Kurohyou games also have secret bosses, but they're the only games in the series that don't have Amons for, you know, secret bosses, which I think is very interesting, because, like, even in a game like Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise, which has almost nothing to do with Yakuza in terms of, you know, the setting, that they somehow managed to squeeze an Amon there. So it's like, if you did that there, that could have been easily done in the Kurohyou games as well, but you decided not to, which is interesting. So, Kurohyou 1 has this guy, and unfortunately this guy is just a punching bag. You can take a look at the video that I made about this. I have a video up on my channel. It's like 20 minutes long, and I think I was maxed out. And all it is just, you know, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over. He's just a sponge. Like, you beat him, and then you do the same combo, rinse and repeat. And yeah, maybe you could make it look stylish, but this is a fight where I spent 20 minutes fully upgraded. So it's like, good luck trying to make this look stylish in a video, in a fight that is like 20 minutes long. So I guess because of that, we can also go ahead and say this is probably the most tedious secret boss in the entire series, because holy shit. Again, I have a video up, just watch a few minutes maybe, because I don't think anyone is sane enough to sit through all of that. I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not, but just take a look for a few minutes in that video, and you'll see what I mean. And then we have this guy. This guy is the secret boss in Kurohyou 2. And I didn't fight him, so I don't really know anything about him. I didn't really look up much info about him either, so I can't tell you much about him, unfortunately. Alright, before we do the Yakuza 7 Amon, we have to do the Judgment Amon, because that's where he's introduced. So, Ishin Amon is easy S tier for me, because, my god, like, for being a new Amon, I feel like they did such a good job at introducing him, building him up, I guess. The way that he takes you to the place that you fight in, and the soundtrack. God, can we talk about the soundtrack? Like, it's so dramatic, it's so over the top, it's so epic, whatever you want to call it. And the name for it as well is just icing on the cake. It's like The Last Assassin Symphony something, like, it's just so cool. This Amon definitely won me over very quickly, and he was fun to fight. He had a lot of fun gimmicks in the fight as well. One of my favorites being where he steals your phone, so you can't pause, and you can't access your inventory. So what you have to do before that is you would have to set like item shortcuts, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to heal in that fight. So you have 3 item shortcuts, you set whatever you want there, and then you're pretty much good to go, as long as you know, you're careful and you don't use more than the stuff that you have allocated. I think the only way you can pause in this fight is to open the map, which does allow you to, you know, stop all of that going on. So that's good at least. And yeah, I thought the gimmick where you have to switch fighting styles with him was really good, really well done. You know, like the cage turning from red to blue and then from blue to red is just so cool. And the cage looks so freaking amazing in red as well, because it's like a cage of fire. Also, one more thing about this Amon, which became a huge meme, and you can see that if you go back on my video with him. Everyone fucking memed about the frame rate for this fight on the PS4 version, because if you play it on the PS5, you'll probably not face any of these issues. But if you played this on the PS4, you'll remember how fucking atrocious the frame rate gets, the more projectiles that he has, you know, aimed at you. And it was so hilarious, because people were like, yo, the Amon clan has evolved so much that they're trying to come after your frame rates now to, you know, get an advantage over you. And I just think that is so amusing of an idea, so amusing to think about. And yeah, it's just one more thing that actually made me like this Amon. Moving on to Yakuza 7 with the same Amon. I mean, I think it is cool that Ichiban gets to fight him. And not only that, but you find out that Kiryu is in cahoots with this dude, basically asking him to test Ichiban and see how good he is. I guess to be a potential freaking bully victim for the Amon clan. I don't know what Kiryu's planning. If that's what it is, like, I feel bad for Ichiban, because he'll probably have to deal with these guys going forward. But I mean, if there's anything that Ishin Amon established, it's that he's a pretty cool dude. In fact, he's too cool of a dude that it kinda backfired on him in Lost Judgment. Now, Lost Judgment introduces a new Amon called Joe Amon, and I didn't find him for myself, at least not in, you know, Premium Adventure or the story. I did fight him briefly in the climax battles, like game mode, and he's nuts. But I also did watch a video of him, and I saw like what the deal with him is, and I thought it was so freaking hilarious, because like, you're supposed to fight Ishin Amon once again, but this guy shows up, and he's like, Shin, you're such a fucking failure, before proceeding to murder him, and then you fight him. And then what do you find out after the fight? Shin didn't die, even though you see like blood and shit, like, you should be dead, but no. He's alive, and Shin was actually cheering for you to win this fight. Not only that, he pretty much becomes drinking buddies with the Yagami. Isn't that so wholesome? Like, seriously, Ishin Amon is like the most wholesome Amon on the list. And yeah, like, I don't know, there's just so many things to like about Ishin Amon, if you ask me. They did a good job at introducing this new Amon and making him likable in more ways than one. Alright, last but not least, we have Joe Amon once again, but this time he's in another dimension. And this time he shows up in Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Where do I start? So, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is a game that... I know I talk about this a lot, but some people apparently don't consider this to be a Yakuza game, but I do consider it to be one because it's a collaboration in the name, Hokuto ga Gotoku, and Yakuza is Ryu ga Gotoku. That alone says everything you need to know. It is a collab between Yakuza and Hokuto no Ken. Anyway, Joe Amon somehow fucking time travels into this Fist of the North Star dimension. Once you finish all the side quests, and I think you also have to do the cabaret stuff, which honestly was kind of tedious for me, because I remember like having to grind in that forever and fucking just forever. That part was not fun, but Amon himself was fantastic in my opinion. So Amon in Lost Paradise is amazing because when it comes to gimmicks, Joe Amon in this game has a lot of them. And it's definitely one of the more unique fights against an Amon. So this fight has 3 phases. The first phase is a normal fight in which Joe Amon fucking grows like 50 times his size. And I thought that was so fucking amusing. And then once you deal enough damage, what happens is that Amon is gonna retreat to his own car. And then Kenshiro does the same thing, and now it switches to a race sequence, which both of you just have to drive on this lane, and the winner determines something about the beginning of the third and final phase, which is who takes damage at the beginning of the fight. Now, once this sequence starts, again, you go back to fighting him. From what I remember, the third fight with him here is relatively normal, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And it's also worth mentioning that in each of the 3 sequences that he has, they reuse a different theme of his that he had at previous games, which, you know, it's recycling, but I still thought it was kind of cool. Because at the very least, it does keep things fresh, and you get to hear something different every phase. And finally, once you beat Amon, you get a trophy called Go Back to Kamurocho, which I think, again, is just so amusing, and it's great fan service. So there you have it. This is my Amon tier list. I will be leaving the link to this tier list in the description if you're interested in making your own ranking and, you know, just sharing stuff with your friends if you want to do that. But yeah, like the secret bosses in these games is one thing that some people really look forward to when it comes to, you know, getting a new game. People are gonna want to see who's the new secret boss. Is it new? Is it someone returning? You know, what's going on? How is the fight? Is there a new soundtrack? You know, that kind of thing. If you made it this far, watched most of the video, then I want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys just, you know, continuing to watch the stuff that I make. And I want to give a special thanks to my Hannya and Dragon members for also going the extra mile to support me. I really appreciate all of the support that you guys give me. And yeah, I hope I can continue making stuff that you guys enjoy. What kind of tier list do you guys want to see me cover in the future? Do let me know down in the comments. I would love to see what you guys have in mind, and who knows, maybe your comment or your suggestion is the one that I'm gonna go with next. So with that being said, again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.